Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be installing the RR Racing ATI pulley kit on my blue GSF. And I'm combining this with also doing the belt tensioner and idler along with the water pump, but I'm breaking them up into 3 separate videos. So this video will only cover the pulley installation, removal, etc. One thing that I recommend doing that you do not see in a lot of other videos involving this is to replace the crank pulley as well. These are not torque to yield bolts TTY, which means they're not one-time use only bolts. However, when you're dealing with something like this, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and do it. It's pretty cheap and sure. Gotta love technology. All right, so there is the part number for the shorter belt. And there is our new OEM crank bolt pulley, and you can see that it has red Loctite on it from the factory. Not much. That's also why that is so difficult. So secure the car, lift it, or put it on jack stands, remove the front center splash shield, several 10mm bolts, and a few of the plastic clips. You may want to have some extra plastic clips on hand because sometimes those do break. Auto parts stores frequently carry them. Otherwise, there's a link in the video description from Amazon where you can get some things like that too. Go ahead and remove the upper intake elbow so you have access. And one thing that you won't see here is that I removed the coolant overflow tank, but you can work with it on there. It's going to be kind of difficult, but it will work. Going to go ahead and remove using a 14mm bolt to remove the tension off of the auto tensioner, and then put an Allen key or something to hold it in place, and then remove the belt. The scavenge pump pulley, gonna kind of wrap the old belt around it to hold it in place, and there are 12 4mm bolts, or there are 4 12mm bolts that are securing it, and swap those out. We'll tighten it down completely once we put the belt back on. So the water pump is basically the same thing, just wrap the old belt around it, or you can loosen these while the belt is on. Either way, pick your poison. 4 12mm bolts, remove them, and replace. So that's the easy part, but you can see right here I don't have the coolant overflow there. It is not pictured, but you can do it from underneath or up above with that coolant overflow in place. You can remove it out of the way a little bit. And so the big thing for the crank pulley is you need a 3/8 extension, and the short one I had wasn't quite long enough, so I had to get a longer one. You need a 3/8 extension to hold the crank pulley in place while you remove the crank pulley bolt, and it is a bear to remove. It's on there with 242 foot-pounds plus red Loctite, so you can see that the whole motor mounts and everything, it's moving while I'm trying to get this off. I really had to crank on it to get it to break loose, and it finally went for me. So if your pulley doesn't come right off, you're going to have a couple pry bars on the back and just gently walk it off, and you can see there it finally started to move for me. And there's a Woodruff key that's holding it on, and so when you remove it, make sure that that Woodruff key stays on the crankshaft. And when you reinstall the new crankshaft pulley, you want to kind of tap that Woodruff key on the front just a hair, so it just sits a little bit further into the crankshaft, and then it will slide right on. If you're really struggling with this step, that's usually the holdup, is you just kind of need to tap the front of it and then tap the pulley on, make sure it starts sliding on. So there's the old bolt versus the new one. You can see factory installed red Loctite, straight from Toyota, straight from Lexus. Walk it on manually. Do not use a impact for this. And then there is a tool that RR Racing provides. You need to bolt that to the crank pulley, and as much as I don't like this, you are going to use that to hold the crank in place while you put 242 foot-pounds on this crank pulley, and it's tightening against this cast aluminum oil filter housing, which again, I'm not a fan of putting that much. I mean, you could seriously do some damage to that, but apparently it works, and it didn't damage anything. But that is a lot of pressure to be putting against cast aluminum, but it does work. I feel like there should be a better way to do that, but that's how they do it, and it's worked on my orange car. It's worked on this blue GSF as well. And then, of course, put the belt back on. So this is the new belt. It's a green belt that comes with the kit, if you so choose to option it that way. The belt diagram is right here. And then go ahead and release the tension. Rotate the crank a few times clockwise to make sure that the belt is all lined up. Nothing's going to roll off of the water pump or the scavenge pulley or anything like that. And you're set. Probably takes at most a couple hours if you've never done this. The biggest struggle, of course, let's make sure we tighten up the scavenge pulley and the water pump pulley. But the biggest struggle will be getting the crank pulley back on, making sure everything is aligned. So that's what I've got for you guys. If this is something that interests you, let me know in the comments. And of course, make sure you thumbs up, subscribe, and appreciate you watching. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you soon.